All right, first things first. Netflix loses over 200,000 subscribers
Good.
this week. Well, I mean, some
Good.
might say it's good, some might not say it's good.
I think it's great news.
Well, let's take a little look at a little screen rant. What they got to say about it. Give us some of the inside of it. Netflix has also projected a devastating loss in Q2, expecting an additional 2 million subscribers to leave their ranks. Netflix has already taken a hit, with its stock falling 22% after this announcement. Their plan to combat this subscriber loss is to continue focusing on providing content subscribers want to see. They plan on spending $18 billion on new films and television series in 2022 alone, as well as pursuing paid alternatives to password sharing and cheaper ad-supported models, a subscription plan that will be adopted by its competitor Disney Plus later this year. Oh, okay, that was a mouthful. That was a mouthful to say. Netflix has lost 200,000 subscribers, which leave that as it may. They're still the lead when it comes to streaming platforms. But it also brings to light what they're planning to do to kind of make up for that extra cash that that they're losing, because not only because of that revenue, but also because Netflix has come out and said that 100 million homes are password sharing, which, like, I thought that was a thing, right? Does everybody password share? Isn't it kind of like bartering in prison? You know, like, hey man, I'll give you my apple for tomorrow's breakfast. Like, that's what you do.
I thought you were going to say, I'll give you my ass.
Hey man, I'll give you my ass for that.
Well, he's sorry, give you my ass for that password. sorry.
That's the only way. That's only how you and I share, Ramon.
Sorry.
With that being said, Seth, you hear that Netflix is their stocks are plummeting. They're complaining about password sharing, even though, go back 10 years ago, they were telling people to share passwords. They put out a promotion saying sharing is caring. They wanted people to share their passwords. And now you hear that, okay, well, they're already at like $20 some odd a month. They've raised their prices, and now they're wanting to get rid of password sharing by. I think one of the concepts that they're going to test out first is they're going to say, hey, you know what? You may not. We won't let you share your password, but if you want to add an external person to your plan for an extra $3 a month, we'll do that per person. Extra $3 a month per person.
Yeah.
What is your thought with Netflix and all this that's going on with them? What do you derive from it?
When it comes to losing subscribers, I'm not really surprised, because, like, they take 4 years to release new seasons of the shows everyone likes, being Stranger Things. You know, season 4 comes out next month. When did season 3 come out? Was it July, like 2019?
2019.
Yeah.
So almost 3 years ago, and who knows how long it's going to take for them to get season 5 out.
Yeah.
And plus they're canceling. Even if they are ending the shows, they're still cutting certain shows off early that people really liked. I never watched BoJack Horseman, but I know a lot of people that really like that show, and they ended that one just a couple years ago. And they had some other shows that were coming out, like Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is an animated show that a lot of people love. They were doing a live action adaptation of it, and the creators of Avatar were directly involved with it. So that got a lot more people excited, like, oh wow, the original creators are directly involved with this. You know it's going to be good. They dropped out because of what Netflix wanted to do with the show. And now
creative differences, that sort of thing.
Yep. The creators said that, like, you know, maybe the show will be great, but it's not going to be anything like The Last Airbender. So we don't want any part of it. And, like, this news spreads. And Netflix, I mean, let's be honest here, they're not always putting out the greatest content. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they put out some really good content. Other times, not so much.
So you think them losing subscribers has to do with all these things you just mentioned? You know, the years between seasons, which is a great one. It makes it a little exhausting.
I think the years between seasons mainly is a big thing. Also, the binge thing. Like, I know people like to binge, but, like, you binge it in a day or two, and then you're done talking about it for 3 years. Like,
right? Yeah, that is a problem. Ramon, what are your thoughts on Netflix losing their shares and also blaming password sharing and raising their prices and possibly coming out with a new ad-supported model, which they've never had before?
I wouldn't pay any more than I do already for it, to be honest with you. I've got it TV here. I've got it in the front room, and I do actually share it with my sister, but she's in a different household. I get that. I can get it from the perspective of a business plan model, but I mean, I don't know if I would keep it. I don't know if it's just to do with the timescale in which these shows. I think the pandemic hasn't helped 100%. The pandemic hasn't helped because we've not had stuff being made as much. However, as Seth pointed out, there's only really a couple of things, and I personally, myself, speaking for myself, I only got it for Stranger Things. That was the initial reason I bought it, because I'm fanatic for that show. I'm a nightmare. I love it. But as Seth said, it's, you know, every 3 years. Realistically, I haven't cancelled my Netflix at any point, but there's nothing really stopping me from doing that now, because when I think about it, I'm only watching that. You know what I mean? And like the odd something might come out. There was a movie last year, The Harder They Fall, was a Netflix movie. I really enjoyed that, but it's sort of few and far between. And again, there's so many other platforms. You've got Prime as well with The Boys. You've got there's Peacock, which I don't really use that much, but that's got a couple of good ones. You use HBO Max. You know, there's a lot of different platforms. So I think Netflix will continue to lose a lot unless they, being blunt, they need to create more and decent content. And it's not that I don't think they're terrible. I don't think they make terrible content, but like, say for example, I love Stranger Things. I go, well, that's it. Then I love Amazon because I love The Boys. But then that sounded weird. I love Amazon because I love The Boys. No, but like, but what I mean is it's only really the odd show, really. And they take too long as well with getting a lot of things like Titans, DC Titans, which I love anyway. That comes out over where you lot are as it's out. We're still, the season that's just come out of Titans is still not on our Netflix yet. We're still on the season before.
Oh wow!
It's still, I think season 4 of Titans, weren't it? I think it was season 4 or 3.
Season 4, yeah.
Season 3 was the most recent season.
Oh,
they're filming 4 right now.
Right, yeah. So season 2 is the last one that was put on Netflix over here. Like, so people again, like I watch that, so I'll go to another platform to watch it. I'm like, well, why do I need Netflix? It's only for Stranger Things, and if that's only every 2 or 3 years, I don't really. What about Cobra Kai? Is Cobra Kai Netflix?
Yeah.
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 So there's a couple of things. There is a couple of things, but I think in general, I think they need to have. I don't know whether it's TV series or they need to have more consistently good films. Maybe I don't know. Well,
I mean, when it comes to the streaming wars, I think this is finally a possible result of the streaming wars we've talked about. You know, like we knew it was going to happen eventually. They're going to battle each other, and somebody was going to start losing subscribers. It just happened to be Netflix. Even though they're still winning the actual streaming war, they're losing this battle of subscribers. But there's also something to remember that they pull out of that war that's going on with
Ukraine?
Over there. Russia attacked. I can't remember.
Yeah. Ukraine. Yeah.
Thank you, Ukraine. I couldn't think of the goddamn. I couldn't think of it. Or Russia. Yeah, they pulled all of their Netflix from that, from all their subscribers. That was like 700,000.
Good point.
You know, so you have that, but even with that, they still only lost 200,000. So they gained so many to make that loss not as big as it was. So it's not as black and white as it seems, you know. As for when it comes to their Netflix sharing stuff, I mean, listen, we've all been riding that free ride for a little too long. I think it's been one of those things that we've been like, okay, how long is this really going to go on? Because I mean, 100 million homes are password sharing. That is potentially, and you think 100 million homes, how many people are in those homes? Let's say you have, one adult child in that home, or one adult child that's moved away, and that's part of the 100 million. That's still a million viewers that you could be having, or they upcharge to the $3 extra to have that person added to it. Like I kind of agree, password sharing is not the most honest thing to do. But at the same time, I don't think they really knew how to control it before. But I think they're coming up with the concept. And, well, as I said, they're going to do a little test run with it and see how it rolls.
I think they'll lose a lot. I do think they'll lose a lot. I don't know, is it Amazon or one of them that has a thing where if you share a password, you've got to have, I think on Netflix, you're allowed 2 logins. So I've got one for my name and one for my sister's name. So you can only have those 2 names log in at any given time. So that to me shouldn't matter where you are realistically. Like, I think that's fair. If they've got a limit on it like that, you can't really then share that same thing with 1,000 people, because only one person, I can log in and one other person can. So as long as it's shared, it's only 2 people that can, or something like that in the accounts. I think that's fine. If they do it where you've got to pay for every single person, I just think that's. I can see from the perspective of the business model, but at the same time, you're going to lose.
I don't think that's what they're saying. I don't think they're saying you got to pay for every person. What they're saying is, I think they're going to track your where you're
using it from.
Yeah, where you're using it from, and anything outside of that is what gets charged extra.
So what happens then? All right, me and you, we're gay boys, we're married, yeah, and you're a screenwriter. I'm a producer. I travel around the world, you travel around the world. So every week my Netflix is in a different location. So that means every time I go somewhere, I've got to pay for a different thing again. And then you've got to go around and pay again as...
See, I think that's the slippery slope. I think that's the part that they're trying to test out and see how they can actually do that.
I think they should just stick with it being, if you pay for an account, say for example, you pay for an account, right, it's $12 or $20 a month. Right, that $20 allows 2 sign-ins to an account, or 1 sign-in to an account at once. If that's the case, it doesn't matter, because if you've got one person with 1 account that can only sign in at 1 time, it doesn't matter if I share it with 1 million people, only 1 person is still going to be able to use it. So they're not really losing anything, because I'm going to be wanting to use it at night. If I share it with someone else, they're going to want it to use it at night. So you can't have 2 people using it at the same time. So I think if they've got it like that, yeah, I can understand the piracy thing, but as we've seen, you can never beat. You can't beat it. You cannot beat piracy. There will always be a way to find a way around these things. And I think as long as it keeps to a level like that. But again, I'm not going to, if it's another like $5 or whatever it is on top of what I'm already paying, I'm not going to pay it, because like Seth said, there isn't actually enough for me at the minute. I was already contemplating, like, do I really need this? I might as well just sign up for the month that Stranger Things comes out, pay $12 or whatever it is, and then cancel it. Ozark comes out next month, pay for it for the month, cancel it again. I don't need to be paying for it all the time, because there's nothing else on there.
When it comes to Netflix, all I really watch is something to fall asleep to. Like I never go to Netflix to I watch like Seinfeld or something and just like let the seasons roll through, but like I never go. Very rarely am I like, man, I need to go to Netflix to watch this. But that's what they're doing. They're not in trouble with their stocks falling quite yet. They could bounce back. I wouldn't invest in them right now, but they could bounce back. I mean, again, they're not in a bad position. They're still leading the streaming war. Like, they're still above everybody else.
I think you should.
What do you got, Seth?
I was just gonna throw out there, like, another thing with Netflix is, like, 10 years ago, that was it. You had Netflix. That was like the only real streaming service. You'd think of like any movie to be like, oh, I bet Netflix has it. You go and check, and they do. But now they're losing not all of it, but they're losing a lot of stuff because all of these other streaming services are coming out. Peacock, HBO Max, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, like Amazon Prime. These are all becoming their own thing, because the big thing that Netflix had for a very long time, the 2 big shows were The Office and Friends. That was what they had.
Oh yeah.
And they've lost both of those things now. The Office went to Peacock, and Friends went to HBO Max. They did get Seinfeld, though. I'll give them some credit. But, like,
Yeah.
Seinfeld was the replacement.
Yeah, but even I've been robbed. My two favorite shows that I fell asleep to constantly was either Twilight Zone or the Forensic Files. And like
Twilight Zone probably went to Paramount.
Right. And then and
Check,
Twilight
actually.
and the Forensic Files is on Amazon. So like now what was easy for me to do and get to is now disappeared from Netflix. And now I have to get two other streaming services to get what I used to like. Well, where does Netflix fall into that realm? Yeah, you're right, Seth. And people are like, well, Netflix will never go anywhere. Well, okay. 12 years ago, Netflix was the only streaming service you had. 15 years ago, you could only get your movies at Blockbuster.
Maybe Blockbuster will make a comeback. What if Netflix crashes and burns and Blockbuster rises up from the ashes?
The return of blockbusters. I think you made a good point there though about the shows that are like coming and going, and I think it might get to the stage where people will do like I just said, where you just get it for the month while whatever is coming out, or if they do separate a show, say it was like Moon Knight's on Disney, but say it's like, oh, it's 6 episodes, well, I'll just pay for 6 weeks and then cancel it. Isn't it better it's better for them to keep people consistently subscribed, even if it's a lower fee, because that fee will be bigger, rather than me paying, I don't know, like $30 a year for the month that I want it and then not using it for the rest of the year. Like, they're going to lose a lot more that way, rather than keeping me on at $15 and then I just don't, because I'm not, but most people, I think they see it as a low rate thing. They'll go, oh, I'm not bothered, I might use it, I might not, but every couple of months something's on there that I really want to watch, so I don't mind paying for it. And I think that's how people are. If they skyrocket it too high, unless the content is very, very good, you're going to be like, well, why am I paying that much for it? Like, there's nothing on there that I...
Well, I think Netflix has gone a very long time of like riding on this high horse and people thinking it's worth more than it actually is. And I think they started thinking that too. I mean, they're the only service that I know of, and I could be wrong about this, but I feel like they're the only service that's $20 a month.
How much is HBO Max over there?
I think I paid 13 something for it.
Oh my God. With the exception of one or two shows, that's better. Because that's got more. Has got more. Well, over here, I don't know what you get on Netflix over there. That's what I'm saying. But Netflix over here is a bit crap.
Yeah,
really.
it's a mixed bag. And like Seth said, it used to be the place, but now all these other places have their streaming services. And once their contracts with Netflix lifts, like, now you got to go to these other streaming services, and Netflix is kind of left with like, oh shit, like now we're left with all of our own content,
Yeah.
And that wasn't great. But there you go. Netflix is losing money and is now not only hiking their prices up, but trying to figure out a way to get more money, or to charge for houses that keep password sharing from happening. If you're listening to us or you're watching us live,